On the surface, Conan Exiles is your simple sword and sorcery. However, below that surface, the dark essence of HP Lovecraft swirls in the endless cosmic voids. Today we'll be unveiling HP Lovecraft's deep, impermeable influence on Conan Exiles. Howard Phillips Lovecraft, born August 20th, 1890, returned to the stars on March 15th, 1937. A man of significant personal troubles, H.P. Lovecraft is regarded as the father of many modern horror conventions, helping to influence the works of Stephen King, John Carpenter, and Guillermo del Toro, to name but a few. Robert Irvin Howard, born January 22nd, 1906, died June 11th, 1936. An acclaimed pulp fiction writer and the creator of Conan the Barbarian, Howard is regarded as the father of the sword and sorcery subgenre. One may think there would be little to tie these two authors together, and that would be mostly true until August of 1930. Howard penned a letter to Weird Tales, a pulp fiction magazine of the time, in which the works of both authors were published. Howard's letter praised a reprint of Lovecraft's The Rats in the Walls. Editor Farnsworth Wright ensured the letter reached Lovecraft, who responded warmly to Howard, giving birth to a friendship that would last for the rest of Howard's short life. By virtue of this friendship, Howard joined the Lovecraft Circle, a group of authors in regular correspondence whom shared ideas, concepts and creations to help each other succeed as writers. Howard contributed several elements to Lovecraft's mythos, starting with the Black Stone, and also including the Cairn on the Headland and the Children of the Night. Howard would eventually grow tired of Solomon Kane and King Kull, his two main creations, and decided to mix sword and sorcery with his horror experience, birthing Kings of the Night, one of the first stories that shows the influence of Lovecraft's work. That influence continued onward into other works, including Conan the Barbarian. Unfortunately, Howard's life would be cut short. By 1936, Howard had been almost exclusively writing Western fiction, and on the precipice of predicted success with his soon-to-be-released novel A Gent from Bear Creek, things were looking up for Howard's career. In contrast, things were not going well in Howard's personal life. His friends had moved on with marriages and careers, his only known romantic partner Novelyn Price had moved away, and Weird Tales had fallen behind on their payments. Worse still, his ailing mother, riddled with tuberculosis, was nearing death. The constant presence of care workers and necessary regular trips to the sanatoriums for her care made writing a near impossibility for Howard. In June of that year, Howard's mother Hester slipped into a final coma. Robert maintained a vigil with his father and family friends, barely sleeping, instead fueled mostly on coffee. On the morning of June 11th, 1936, when Howard was told his mother would not regain consciousness, he retreated to his car. There he retrieved a .380 Colt automatic pocket model borrowed from a friend and fired it into his own head. He survived for a further 8 hours, though his wound was too grievous to repair. Howard would expire after those 8 hours, and his mother died the next day. Lovecraft was deeply affected by Howard's death and consoled Howard's father through his own letters. Upon hearing of his death, Lovecraft wrote a brief memoir to his correspondents entitled In Memoriam Robert Irvin Howard. The character and attainments of Mr. Howard were wholly unique. It is hard to describe precisely what made Mr. Howard's stories stand out so sharply, but the real secret is that he himself is in every one of them. At this time, Lovecraft's own health was in decline. Suffering from a bout of influenza, he would go on for about 8 months before being examined by doctors, despite his crippling fear of them. Lovecraft was diagnosed with terminal cancer of the small intestine and remained hospitalized in constant pain until his death on March 15th, 1937, a mere 9 months and 4 days after the death of Howard. The success of both Howard and Lovecraft only grew after their deaths and have come to be influential upon their respective worlds. However, those worlds intertwine more than you would expect. Conan Exiles released into early access in early 2017 and was fully released on May 8th, 2018. On the surface, the game is a simple affair, an action-adventure survival RPG title set in the universe of Conan the Barbarian. Conan himself is present in-game, as is Valeria on the Isle of Siptar. Much of the story of Conan Exiles takes a back seat to the action at hand, however, allowing lore hunters to explore the story at their own pace if they wish to do so. When you dive deeper, that story is painted in the unmistakable shades that represent the fusion of Howard and Lovecraft's entwined ideas. Our first encounter with the Lovecraft mythos occurs when we make our character. Of all of the religions we can choose, the cannibal god Yog is lifted directly from Lovecraft's works. Yog Sothoth, the lurker at the threshold, is never directly depicted in-game, though his influence is felt throughout the Dafari camps of the desert. Making his first appearance in The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, Yog is a deity of many appearances and powers. The common agreement is that Yog manifests as a mass of glowing orbs, and even the Giant Kings, ancient elder beings, fear Yog, the Lord of Empty Abodes. Through his omniscient nature, Yog sees all secrets. Nothing can hide from the all-encompassing Yog Sothoth. The Lemurians, a race that came to the exiled lands in their darkest hour and eventually toppled the empire of the Giant Kings, worshipped the god Dagon. Lifted directly from Mesopotamian mythology, Dagon is a prominent feature in the Cthulhu mythos. His most notable appearance is found in The Shadow over Innsmouth, where his deep ones intermingle with humans to produce fish-human offspring. Dagon himself appears in the flesh in the Sunken City dungeon. There, the final remnants of the Lemurians, the cult of Dagon, attempt to summon Dagon himself. The exile must slay the final remaining Lemurians, including the Ritual Keeper, to save the world from Dagon's might. This dungeon is also packed with the aforementioned Deep Ones. The Outcast is a peculiar frost giant found in the frozen north and the teacher for the religion of Ymir. Non-hostile in nature, the Outcast was blinded by Hrungnir of the Frost for his intelligence and exiled from his frost giant kin. Through his blinded eyes, the Outcast has visions of a place called the Outer Void, a deep cosmos that exists on a different plane of reality than our own, a place that screams of Lovecraft's influence.
The exiled lands are a dream. Everything is figment. We are puppets to the bidding of vast, formless things from beyond. Do you not believe me?
Southwest of the Stygian port of Kemi, the Isle of Siptar is a place brimming with Lovecraftian energy. The isle was built by the Elder Races, strange things that fled from the brutality of their formerly enslaved humans. On that isle, Nyarlathotep, the messenger of the gods, sought to offer a saving grace to the disparate Elder Things. He conjured the Maelstrom to protect the Elder Races from the humans, opening great rifts to see forth through space and time. Nyarlathotep, the child of Azathoth, is becoming a common fixture within Conan Exiles for reasons we'll touch on again shortly. Another character lifted directly from the Lovecraftian mythos, his first appearance was in Lovecraft's book simply entitled Nyarlathotep. He has become one of the most well-known deities and one of the few actively malicious outer gods. The serpent men that inhabited the Isle of Siptar stole a stone from the top of Siptar's Black Tower to bring to the remnants of their dying race in the volcano of the Exiled Lands. This stone was the shining trapezohedron, which is found on the corpse of the degenerate at the end of the Well of Skelos. This stone was crafted by the Migo on the planet Yuggoth, an important place in the Lovecraftian mythos. The stone itself summons Nyarlathotep as the Haunter of the Dark, and acts as a window through all of space and time, possibly even into the mind of Yog Sothoth himself. Eventually, the remaining Elder Races on Siptar would attempt to recreate the trapezohedron that had been stolen from them, communing again with the beings of Yuggoth. This was eventually successful, and the stone was reforged, enslaving humans once again. However, that same stone would conjure unstable maelstroms, wrenching open reality and bringing forth horrid beings of the Outer Dark, indifferent to the plights of the Elder Races, driven only by nameless hunger. That maelstrom would continue to rage on as the Elder Races devolved inside their vaults, summoning untold entities from beyond the Isle of Siptar. Once more, the Lovecraftian essence of the outer gods and those beyond the veil of reality exert themselves onto the lands of Conan Exiles. Of course, the most recent set of updates, the Age of Sorcery, are dripping with Lovecraftian flavour. There's a lot of detail I'm going to briefly skim over, but the main crux of the Age of Sorcery hinges upon Kurak, a mysterious sorcerer. It is finally revealed in Chapter 3 that he's not working alone. Mek Kamoses divines that Kurak serves a dark master, a man he is incapable of reading. Stepping into Kurak's lair, Kurak himself screams prayers in the ancient psionic language to the crawling chaos, Nyarlathotep. Even in death, Kurak uses the ancient Relayan language to invoke the name of Azathoth, referencing the Book of Azathoth, a concept lifted directly from the dreams in the Witch House, another story in which Nyarlathotep's strange plans involve wielders of magic and unwilling participants. I already have a full lore video on everything to do with the Age of Sorcery, including translations of those foreign languages spoken by Kurak, so if you're interested in that, there's a card in the top right. These points I've touched on are but a mere few of the numerous times that Lovecraft and Howard's worlds intermingle. There are many, many more, and attempting to list them all here would be a very lengthy endeavour. It seems that wherever you look in Conan Exiles, there is a little bit of Lovecraft. Howard and Lovecraft were friends and correspondents in real life, and that same influence that began to permeate some of Howard's work is faithfully reflected and reproduced in Conan Exiles through the passion of the development team. The legacies of Robert Irvin Howard and Howard Phillips Lovecraft live on far beyond their own deaths. Their influences have helped to shape the world of sword and sorcery and cosmic horror respectively, and through their friendship and literary union, those themes have gone on to infiltrate far beyond the realms of Conan Exiles. Even now, their influence continues to be felt across a wide breadth of literature. Both have influenced my work, from simple storytelling in lore videos to my own published writings. It's rare that an author becomes so deeply ingrained in the fabric of their chosen niche, and even rarer that those two authors intertwine together to produce truly unique works. Lovecraft's influence on Conan the Barbarian, and specifically Conan Exiles, is evident, and as the game moves forward, we can be sure that the eldritch void of Lovecraft's mythos will hang silently over the lands of Conan Exiles. Thank you for watching, and of course a massive thanks to our wonderful, esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. Again, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.